Welcome, everybody. This is the Rotary eClub of Silicon Valley, and every week we bring you the stories of people who make the world around them better, locally, globally, and digitally. Rotary is over 1 million people in over 36,000 clubs around the world who are dedicated to service above self, the motto of Rotarians and Rotaractors, that which we call ourselves. And in our club, we love that we are able to reach out to people everywhere in order to connect, share ideas, and look for that opportunity to inspire each other. This week, slightly different kind of program. It is one in which we are going to focus less on a presentation and more on a conversation. And I'll be quite upfront that I am a fan of our speaker and his group, and we have with us Mike Vandemark of the Lexington Lab Band. Mike, welcome to the Rotary eClub of Silicon Valley. We're gonna get into this and kind of get into a space of first of all helping people understand context. And I'd like you to start by telling a little bit about where you are, right? Like so to people who might be on the other side of the planet, what is it like to be in Lexington, Kentucky?
Well, first of all, thanks for having me. This is really neat. I had no idea. I never thought I'd be talking to the Rotary Club. So this is really cool. I'm excited to do it. Hopefully, it'll be a great conversation and benefit y'all. Yeah, we are in Lexington, Kentucky, right in the heart of the United States. We like to say we're in the South, but we got almost a little Midwest here too. So if you're familiar with geography, we're kind of a melting pot of Appalachia and Midwest and South. That's just a really cool area to be. I've been here for almost 30 years. I came down here when I was 18. I'm originally from Michigan, but I came down here, went to school, got married, and have been here ever since. So that's kind of where we are.
Excellent. Well, I think that one of the things that someone from the South, and I grew up in Southern Arkansas, enjoys in watching the videos that your band puts out is that your band looks like people I went to school with. I mean, it's
Yeah.
I just recognize the group. I feel that way, right?
Yeah.
And so getting this group of people together, how did you guys get started?
Well, I've been in Lexington again since I was 18. Part of the music scene here, and it's a really cool music scene. A country, bluegrass, rock, jazz. There's just a lot going on for a smaller city.
Mhm.
We're very close to Nashville, Tennessee, and so a lot of people have made their way back and forth from Nashville. And I was gigging a lot on the weekends, late nights, doing that sort of stuff. Also had full time job and had little kids. And one of the other guys and I were like, "Man, we've got little kids. This is getting to be too much to be out till 2 in the morning, and then have to get up the next day and help with the kids or do the lawn work on Saturdays, that sort of stuff." We're like, what if we did something different? And I had seen an online show called Live at Daryl's House with Daryl Hall from Hall and Oates.
Absolutely.
I was like, man, we could do something like that. We could learn songs, and he brought guests in and did different things, and I tweaked it a little bit in my vision from what he did. He didn't do the note for note thing, but I thought, man, I really like to learn like songs. I like to break them down. I have an education degree, and so I really appreciate the kind of learning things the way they were intended. And so I said, what if we tried note for note, just like the record? We'll film it, and we'll see if people like it. And in 2013, we did that and put it online, and what we got what we thought was just a tremendous response, which was just a few thousand views, but we thought it was great. And that's kind of where we started. It was five of us that kind of committed to putting in a hard work early on, and we would bring in guests when we needed them, and it's expanded from those five. Now we've used over 85, I think, people in the last 10 years. So
Well, one of the things about it is that several thousand views that was
yeah.
successful for putting that up has ballooned. Your channel on YouTube, I checked earlier today. You guys have had over 65 million views, and that's just YouTube, right? So tell us a little bit about and by the way, I should give some background to others as well. These are songs that your band has covered very carefully, and it reaches into the 70s, 80s, some more recent than that, some a little bit farther back than that. But when you talk about kind of note for note being true to the music,
Yeah.
You know, the talent in the band is just amazing. So is that the kind of thing that allows the various channels you've got to reach so many people? What is it that accounts for the success of the channels?
Well, it would be great if we could nail it down specifically. The pandemic really is where it took off.
Mm.
Before 2020, specifically before August of 2020, we had like 1.5 million total views, and that it was 6 or 7 years worth of being on YouTube. And we're on Facebook and Instagram too. So you totaling all that up, I don't even really know what that is. But in 2020, a lot of internet things took off, especially on YouTube. And we had one video, a foreigner video, Waiting for a Girl Like You, just has skyrocketed and is about a third of our total views. It's at like 25 million now.
Mm.
Um, but it's raised the whole catalog. And so I think it just, I think what we hear from people is that when they hear us play these songs just like the record, and they're not exactly like it, but we're pretty close, and so
Yes.
people they have a lot of nostalgia with it. We get a lot of I remember when, or I remember where, or I used to sing this song with my friends, or I played this song back in high school, and so that has been kind of the thing that has driven the ongoing growth outside of that one video. And we're pretty diverse as far as our selection. We do country, we do rock, we do classic rock, southern rock. We've done grunge. We've done some R&B and pop songs. Our bread and butter is kind of guitar rock. That's what people really love, is guitar featured rock. But again, there's so many of us involved that we try and do stuff that we love. I think that's the other key, is we're not just out to play hits or play popular songs, although that's generally what we choose. But if we're doing a song, we like it. It's not just a song that we think will get views. And so some songs get a lot of views and other songs don't get a ton. But it's really not, at the end of the day, not all about all the views. It's really about our experience together. Um, and that's what I always want to keep the heartbeat, is this is a community thing. This is something we do together. And so if it gets to be about views and about clicks and those sort of things, I'm just nervous about that overall, because I don't want to make decisions based on that. I want to continue to make decisions based on the community and the process that we have.
Well, I think it's an easy argument that one of the things that is so much fun about watching the videos is that even beyond the recognition of the music, there is a way the viewer gets to experience the music
Yeah.
when they're watching a Lexington Lab Band video. It's not, shall we say, about the people as much as it's about the music. Is that a conscious choice?
Absolutely, 100%. So for the most part, if you watch our videos, you'll notice they're in a very dark black background setting. There's really there's no lighting, there's no effects, there's no props in the background. Generally, we've gone to some places and tried different things, tobacco barns, those sort of things, to make it different. But and so it is really about the song. The song is the star, is how we like to say it. And the way we film it is we do each song 3 times, and so we get 3 different angles of each person. And the way then we edit it is we try and edit it the way your ear hears it. So if there's parts that you might not necessarily think you're hearing, but when you see them, you're like, oh, I didn't realize that keyboard did that, or I didn't realize that bass lick did that. And we had sometimes minor criticisms of, why didn't you leave the camera on the guitar solo the whole time? But a lot of times we get man, I really didn't know the drummer did that during the guitar solo, because
Right.
I'll definitely try and show different things. And so it is a conscious decision based on how I like to experience music on the edit side. And then it's kind of become a brand. I tell people a lot of times the Lexington Lab Band brand is as much video as it is audio. It's as much about the visual as it is about the audible. And we do live shows every year, and a lot of people are like, why don't you release more videos from the live show, that sort of thing? Well, it's because it doesn't really match our brand. Our brand is very cuts, quick cuts, and showing a lot of intricate things. And so I try and kind of protect that as much as possible.
Now, that said, in editing the visuals for these videos, I mean, it's clear that the people who are doing this are enjoying what they do, and they clearly like each other as well. And so when you think about a service club, I mean, there's so many lessons that I feel like service clubs get out of watching a great musical
Yeah.
group perform.
Yeah.
Is it the kind of thing that you work to foster in the team in some fashion?
100%. Yeah. I, Part of my heartbeat is connecting people, and music is just a gift that I've been given. It's kind of a tool to achieve that. I love being a musician, but I really like it. I don't prefer to do that alone. You won't often find me at home playing by myself, guitar, drums, or those sort of things. I really usually want to do it with people, and so that's the heartbeat of kind of how I approach music in general. Um, and this has kind of become a thing where there's so many people involved, and it's all volunteer. Everything about it's volunteer. The camera operators volunteer their time. The band volunteers their time. It's a thing where people want to be part of it because they want to be encouraged. It's very encouraging. I try to do my best to put people in positions where they will succeed. And so sometimes we have a little bit of a tension where if we're doing, let's say, Led Zeppelin, and that's every guitar player's favorite band, but we could only use two guitar players on the episode, there's 15, 16 other guitar players that wish they had been asked to do that, right? So sometimes there's a little bit of a tension there of trying to make sure that you're managing people's personalities and desires and egos and that sort of thing. But you always got to put people in a position where they'll succeed because you want them to have a positive experience, and so sometimes it's, you just have to. I'm always just trying to think, okay, well, where could I put this person? They can't necessarily be on this episode, but where could I use them next? And I try to have that conversation with them. If I know they're disappointed about not being asked to do one, I'm trying to find a time to talk to them to go, hey, what can we do next year that you would be a part of, that sort of thing. And so um, it's definitely everybody in the lab band wants everybody else to succeed. There's a strange culture that has just been developed, and it is intentional. That's what I would want the culture to be, but it really is developed just because people are so um, they're just so bought into the vision of playing great music and doing it with other people that they enjoy that there's never a whole lot of jealousy. We do a large live show every year, and this past year we had over 50 of the musicians participate, and it's great because they just all love to cheer each other on. A guy's playing a guitar solo, and there'll be 5, 6, 7 guitar players offside stage just rooting him on. And so it's just had this very unique family type atmosphere that hasn't been too difficult. I think people see it as an honor to be asked to do it, and the expectation to play at a high level is just it's just always been there. If you're going to do this, you're going to learn all your parts before you show up. We do very little rehearsal. We just kind of put it together, make sure it all works, and do it. And so there's a high bar of excellence required, and a high bar of humility that's required to be part of it. So it's been unique, and it's been really enjoyable, and it's been a really cool way to foster community and connect people that don't always get to play music together. It's every set has different people, and it's so you might not play with the same person, ever. You might play with them one time, and then it may be 3 or 4 years before you play with them again. But it's pretty cool.
Well, being in Rotary, where there is a dedication to kind of bringing out the best in ourselves, the idea that humility and excellence is related, seems to be the kind of message that is an easy sell, right?
Yeah.
When egos aren't getting in the way, that's really cool. But you think about something like the level of musical talent that allows you guys to do what you do in the Lexington Lab Band. You're talking about, I mean, really talented people, and really talented people can come with egos, right? So finding that way to get people to celebrate each other, what is it in the water in Lexington or in the space that you guys occupy? What is it that you share that allows you to kind of find that excellence via the humility, so that you're doing stuff that you get to do stuff that you really love to do.
Yeah, I do think there's it may sound simple, but if someone were to come into the project, and there've been a handful, with any sort of it's about me, it's very obvious. Like it
Mm-hmm.
just they just don't fit in. And I think that goes back to the five of us that kind of started this. Those personalities, we were very good friends, and just they all believed in the mission of what we were doing, which was about the music. The music was what was going to be key, front and center. It wasn't about how much screen time do I get, or it really wasn't about people watching us. We just didn't want to go out and play every night in a bar somewhere and be out. We just wanted to do high level music, and we thought we'd like to capture it on video and just have it. And so that culture started with those five very highly skilled musicians. I mean, just and so when as we begin to bring guests in, they kind of had to fit into that, or it just wouldn't work. And so I think people just understand if I get invited to be part of a lab band project, I have to know my stuff and I have to be easy to get along with. And um, it's the thing is I try and do my very best to put people in positions where they'll succeed. And I also think the lab band is a project that allows people to um, to overachieve. And what I mean by that is when you get in a position with four, five, six, seven other people who are at a high level, that's a great foundation for you to play your best, and to challenge yourself and to and so I think people go, hey, this isn't like I'm achieving more than I thought I would. I'm on a winning team, in a way that I maybe never thought I would be, and so people have a very positive experience with it. And I think they look around and go, man, he's doing great too. Like there's just I don't know. It's again, I wish I could like put it in a bottle and sell it, but I think it really has to do with the original five guys, their level of humility and excellence, and then the people finding an opportunity to be part of something that is bigger than them because they can't do this by themselves. Again, you see a lot of videos on YouTube of one guy playing five or six different things in little boxes, and that's great. But what we do, you can't do that by yourself. Then there's an energy, like you said, people are enjoying each other. They're enjoying each other as much as they're enjoying the music, and there's an energy that happens when you put people together to create something. And so again, you just add all that together, and it's the end result is much larger than the sum of its parts. It's so that's probably a very confusing way to go about that, but that's just what it feels like to me. Is it's just a culture that started early, and it allows people just to succeed and overachieve in a lot of ways.
Well, an agreed upon culture set by the original members of the band, and that sets a tone, and then consistent leadership over time
Yeah.
that reinforces that that's what the culture of the group is about, right?
Yes. Yeah. Oh, definitely consistent. I mean, we talk about it. I mean, it's a thing we talk about, which is humility and again encouraging one another's, and we people check on each other outside of things, and they ask, how is this person doing, that sort of thing. So it goes beyond the stage in a lot of ways.
All right. Let's talk a little bit about having YouTube be the main avenue for sharing your work, right? I mean, tens of millions of views. That's a pretty good size and dedicated audience. Um, is it the case that in doing that you are able, and I'm sure there are so many different variables involved, you're able to generate enough revenue to achieve certain goals? I mean, as I understand it from the volunteers, nobody's quitting their day job, right? But
Sure.
what are the kinds of things you think about in making the business sustain the efforts of the group?
Yeah, it doesn't really. It's not a bit. Cover songs are not a real sustainable play. Like nobody could quit their job and do this
Right.
because of publishing rights. So even if we get lucky enough to be able to claim some part of the video, we're sharing it usually with a publisher. And so it affords us enough to rent facilities, get specific equipment if we need to, that sort of thing. But it's not really a sustainable business model as far as like somebody quitting their day job and even managing the project in that regard. YouTube is the easiest way to create an online, monetized business
Mm-hmm.
that we've found. I mean, we've got our videos on Instagram, and we use Facebook a little bit. They're a little bit more picky about copyright, and so we don't actually post videos on Facebook. We just put links to YouTube, that sort of thing. But it's good, but it takes millions and millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of views to make money even on YouTube if you own it all, and we don't own any of it. We just we own the recording that we made, but we don't own the songs, and so our chunk of the pie is very small, very small.
Okay. Can you talk a little bit about some of the things that you've learned about how the business of using YouTube works, right? So if you're thinking about like, okay, we've got this particular video, it's doing really well. Are there things that have to do with the length that, I mean, obviously that copyright is elsewhere, can bands essentially say, hey, that's very nice that you put that up there, but take it down? I mean, like, what are the kinds of things that come into play for you?
Yeah, we've only had actually, I think, 5 videos removed by just 2 artists. The Eagles are notorious for not wanting their music online, and we were able to keep theirs up for about a year or two. And then just recently, we put a Brian Adams song up, but he has the exact same publishing company, same management, and they took that down after just 4 or 5 days. For the most part, I think most artists appreciate you covering their tunes, and they love to put ads on it and make money. So they see it as a way to make money as well. So YouTube's a very friendly platform for people to do covers. They make an arrangement with the different publishers. I don't know what those arrangements are, but most publishers have made an arrangement with YouTube that they allow covers, and then YouTube allows them to claim it based on their publishing rights and put ads on it for their benefit. So we found that really we've only had the 2 artists ever take any down. Most of them will claim their publishing rights. Sometimes they get through without being claimed. Ours is interesting because we do this kind of note for note thing. So sometimes it gets tagged as being the original master,
Oh my.
which is a great compliment to us. And there's a way for us to kind of dispute that and show that, hey, this isn't actually the master. And sometimes we're able to get that release, and other times we're not. But they never take it down; they just put ads on it usually. So YouTube's a very friendly place for that. Now they could change that rule tomorrow, and our band would be done. It would be over because without them being so, I guess, generous in that copyright world, we wouldn't be able to exist.
Well, given that you have built an audience, why not do some original music?
Uh, well, mainly because that's not a gift necessarily that I have, and it's
Mhm.
kind of the point leader of the group. It's not anything I'm just very interested in. I don't have things to say. I don't have a lot. I'm more of a technician when it comes to music. And again, we've used 85 people, and they are all in. They're not just in the Lexington Lab Band. They're in cover bands. They're in original bands. They write their own songs. They, play at their church. I mean, they're all busy doing all the things they love to do too. A lot of them they play once and then they don't play again for 3 years. On a video. So they're all doing those things. So everybody's getting the opportunity to flex their musical muscles in different ways outside of the lab band. So it's just not something that I think really would benefit the project all that much. And again, people are clicking on these songs because of the songs, not because of us. So we put an original song out there. Well, they're not probably not going to choose that generally because they don't know it. So that would be the short answer, I guess.
Okay. Well, I mean, my guess is that you've got enough people who follow you that some curiosity is out there. But thinking about what you do for people who are clicking because they do know the music, right? There's a joy that comes through music, or that you have the opportunity to really bring out joy in others. Do you see this as in a sense a service effort? Like is that part of the way that the group enjoys working together? Is that we're doing something for a lot of other people?
Absolutely. I referenced the live show. We do one a year, and we've done 9 of them. We did not do one in 2020 for obvious reasons. And it's gone from, we had 500 the first year, to last year we had 3,500 come, from 28 different states and from 3 different countries. We had 2 different groups fly from England. I had some folks from Canada. Um, and they love it. I mean, they are part of it. They want to they just love, they love the music. They love us. And I tell them at the live show that they're as much a part of the family as the people on stage. Like, it just means something to these people. It's wild. When we do a song they love, I mean, we did a Kansas tune at the last show, and they just gasped when we went into it. You could feel the whole crowd just gasp, like, "Oh, I've been waiting for this song," type of a thing. And so, um, man, I've gotten more emails. I'm struggling with cancer, or I lost my job, or I was in the hospital with COVID, and all I did was listening to you guys. Or, I mean, it's amazing, and I send those out to our teams, and so they can see that what they're doing makes a difference in just in somebody's their life. Just their everyday life. They'll just say, "Hey," I mean, we had one guy, his daughter called and said, "Hey, my dad's really sick with cancer. He can't come to the show. Would you send him a note?" And I said, "Well, could we get on the phone with him?" And man, when we were on the phone with him, he just couldn't believe it. It was just over the moon. And I'm like, we're just a bunch of normal guys and girls from Lexington, Kentucky. We've got bankers and accountants and insurance salesmen and teachers, and I mean, you name it. And we're just, and he just thought it was the greatest thing ever that we would call him and talk to him and just encourage him. So it's much bigger than us. And I probably get an email most weeks. I get something that says, "Man, this makes a difference," or, "I just love what you're doing and would keep it up," or those sort of things. So it's definitely hit a nerve with folks.
Well, and in that you have stories of the power of what you've done, and that you share those stories with the members of your group. You're maintaining that vibe that the group has about being together and why they're together, and how they operate well together. I mean, that thing about excellence really comes from a shared dedication to something. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yep.
So you have a connection to Rotary as well. Yeah.
Oh, I do. Yeah. So my dad was a Rotary member in Michigan, in St. John's, Michigan. I can remember as a little kid going to Rotary meetings over lunch. And he was a musician too. And I feel like I remember them singing and stuff. I don't totally know, but I think there was a guy that played piano, and my dad would lead some songs, and they would have their meetings over lunch. He was a public educator. And so it's when you called or emailed, I forget which way we started, but we got on the phone pretty quickly. And you're talking about the Rotary. I thought, how just uh, fortunate is that, like, it's just that my dad had a history with the Rotary. He would love this. Like, he would think this is the greatest thing, that I'm talking to a Rotary club. And he was a guy that just exemplified for me service. I had no idea even what he was doing with the Rotary, but as you explained it to me, I thought, well, yeah, that's exactly who my dad was. Always others first, always wanting to serve his community. And so it made total sense that he'd be part of something like the Rotary.
Well, I certainly hope that we will not be the last Rotary Club you speak to,
Yeah,
because
it's so cool.
the message is a fantastic one. I'll wind down the recording and then hand it back to you for a final word. For all of you who have watched this, thank you so much for taking 30 minutes of your time to hang out with Rotary eClub of Silicon Valley and the wildly off the charts cool people that we get to meet and hear from and get inspired by. Just a couple of things we'd like you to do. A little bit farther down on the SiliconValleyRotary.com page, you'll see an attendance form, and just let us know you were here. We love hearing from folks. At the bottom, there's a forum, discuss, DISQUS. Let us know what you think of this program, other elements of the meeting, the inspirational video, the learn something new, the president's message, the happy dollars, the joke might have even been funny. These kinds of things are things we love to read. You can respond to others, reply to the comments that are there, and we just ask that you that you look at this as an opportunity in the same way we do to build friendships, build better friendships. And so with that, we'll wind things down. And Mike, we always hand it back to the speaker for a final word. What would you like for people to have in mind as they step away from watching this recording?
Well, first of all, I would love to connect with you. So if you go to our website and you send an email, it's coming to me. And so you'll hear back from me. So if you have questions or just, want to talk or give us suggestions of songs to do, that sort of thing, please reach out, because that's one of the things we want to do, is always just be interactive with folks. So do that. But what I'll say is, man, if you can find something you love and you can find people that love it too and want to be part of it, and you put it together and you keep humility first and excellence as a high bar, this sort of stuff just kind of happens. And the results are things that often you can't predict, but they speak for themselves. And so we're blessed to have this opportunity, and it's really been great to be with you all today.
Wonderful, Mike. Thank you so much. And everyone, we will see you next week.